Oh, there's a countdown. There's a countdown. Hello, hello. I don't need to keep that countdown, I suppose. I can just, you know, turn that off at any time. And there we go. A new picture. I cleaned it up yesterday. So there we go. So I didn't want to finish sewing the plushie. Hello, hello, Scotty. I didn't want to finish sewing the plushie yesterday and just like pause stream and be like, hey, I'm just going to go in the other room and I'm going to sew this up. Because I was worried that there would be issues with the actual like sewing machine. So I decided to not do that and to wait to do it today. So I just did it, and because I wasn't trying to do it on camera or anything like that, it decided to work first try and everything was fine and great. But there were issues, actual issues. So I wanted to, before I flip it and all of that stuff, I wanted to show that. Let me see if I can do this. Yes. But you won't be able to see here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and do that. Perfect. So I brought my stuff here to show the finishing. And I don't know if I'm going to, I don't know if I got the right stuff. Hopefully I did. I grabbed my needle case. Scissors. Oh, I didn't grab thread. That's okay. I'll figure it out. It'll be okay. But yeah, let me see. What do I got here? Alright, parts. I got scissors. Got needle case. And I wanted to show how, because it is, and I talked about this yesterday when I was working on it, because maybe this will show better if I do that. Yeah. So you can see, I didn't like draw lines. You can see there's a big kind of overlap where it's not even everywhere. And it curls because it's knit. And that's fine because you're just gonna make it work. And then the little legs, and well, they're not legs, they're arms. I keep calling them legs. But yeah. So I'm not actually going to trim. The only part I'm going to trim here is I'm going to trim in the center here because there's because of the way that this goes in the shaping. So what I'm going to do is I'm not even going to really trim it. I'm going to cut it to the seam, and the seam is where you sewed the line. I'm going to cut it to the seam. Just kind of snip. And if you snip it, then that means that the fabric can go like this, and it's not stuck anymore, kind of in that shape, right? I mean, that's what that means. The only other thing, if you want to, now I can tell right now by looking at my lines, one of these legs is going to be a very different shape and size than the other one, which is fine, because I mean, I'm telling you it's fine. If that kind of thing bothers you and you want it to be perfect, then make it perfect. But it's fine if it's not. And so that's why I wanted to leave this the way that it was, so you know. And I'm going to trim away the excess fabric because once you turn it, it might be a little bulky. So I'm just trimming it away. And these are the best scissors. Again, the fabric scissors. These are the little version of the big ones, and they work very good, although my spring is getting a little needing some help. So anyway, I'm going to trim the excess, and then I'm going to flip it. But I left it in case, because you can always change your mind before you cut the fabric away. You can always change your mind. So let's see what we got. We'll flip the body around. And how adorable will it be? I think it's going to not be, well, that is maybe not as plush as maybe I wanted. But this is what we got. Which is kind of cute. I can think that's kind of cute. It's like a palm-sized little baby. Plushie. Whatever kind of baby you want it to be. Right? Okay, let's see. And we'll do the same. I don't think there's really too much that I need to trim away with those. Awkward. This might be a little skinny in the proportion, but I think it'll probably be okay. It's like a little fingertip. It fits my finger perfectly. That is. Okay, I'm pushing the seams down so it's to the most. There. Actually, I think it's okay. Yeah, I think the proportions are alright. I'm gonna, so normally if you want something that's gonna be pretty rough, if kids are rough with toys, normally I would sew this, it just depends on the design that you want, but normally I would sew it into the body. So normally what I would do is I would take these limbs, the arms in this case. Sometimes you do arms and legs separately as limbs, but it's one piece for the body with the legs, so I'm not doing it that way this time. But normally what I would do is I would take this and the limbs I would do separately, and then stuff. And then before I sew the body, what I would do is sew them into the seam here, which is a little more complicated if you're not used to doing it yet. But I would sew it into the seam so that when I flipped it right out, the arm would be there and it would be like double or triple seamed for the strength in that, if that's what you wanted. You know what I mean? So it just depends on how you want to design it. Okay. So, but I decided not to do that. That's not what I wanted to do this time. So now the head. Let's see. Let us see. Let us see. How about the head? I do have a thing. I think I did it, like, although part of this was on the seam here, part of this was a little sketch. That's a little sus, guys. It's a little sus. All right. But this is fine. All right. I did end up sewing it slightly. Oh, I just flipped it. I remember I was talking about how you're going to sew it inside out. Uh-oh. I could just hear that snap. The thread snap. I was talking about how you're going to sew it, and then you're going to turn it inside out. Well, right side out, because you're going to sew it inside out, so that when you turn it, it is right side out. And usually that's called turning. And then if you top stitch it, it's called turning and top stitching it, if you do that. So, okay. I did end up, I know that when I drew the pattern out, the ears were a little curved because I wanted it to be kind of ambiguous. And so I left it ambiguous, but when I went to go sew it up, I kind of did it a little more pointed. So we have this. And I definitely was afraid of this. I was afraid that the head would be disproportionately large to the body. And it's going to look really awkward with no neck. So this is a learning experience, isn't it? And what did we learn? We learned that the pattern proportions are going to be what it looks like when it is complete. So I'm gonna snip my extra threads here, on here, and I'm gonna grab my polyfill. I know that there's some people in the toy making world that don't necessarily always like to use polyfill because it is polyester, i.e. it is plastic. But my velours are probably not fully cotton. Even if they're a cotton velour, they often use polyester in part of it. And for me, I'm okay with polyfill because despite the fact that it is plastic, it washes well and it retains its fluff and body for a while. I have never had anything fail from polyfill. But if you're stuffing with other things like wool, I've never stuffed with anything other than wool. I think wool and polyfill. I might have used cotton. It can flatten over time and it doesn't always keep the same body. So again, I know that there are purists out there that like to use stuff that's all natural, etc., etc. But I like to make sure there is something there for longevity and playability so that it's good for our kids so that they can use it and have it, kind of as a thing. So I use polyfill, plus it's not very expensive. And that's kind of important that you can have access to things. So if this is something that you wanted to do, it doesn't take a lot of investment. If you did want to make toys, you can go to any sort of Michael's or Joann's or any place that sells fabric remnants, or you can even go to thrift stores and thrift old clothes, and probably a lot of that stuff is really, really easy to wash. There's a lot of it that you can just stick it in the washer, stick it on hot, and clean it, you know what I mean? And really, really test it. And so if you can put it through hot wash, then usually it's going to be pretty sturdy for a kid's toy. I started stuffing this, and I don't really talk about stuffing it. So when you're stuffing a plushie or a toy, say you have one that you want to refill or you want to fix up, or say you're making your own, there's lots of free patterns out there too if you feel like you don't want to, sew your own or draw your own or whatever. You don't know how that works. I'm currently working on a dragon plushie, and I really wanted to do a three-dimensional head with a shaped head with a snout and everything. And so that's where I stopped. I got the head shaped down, which is a really difficult part of it. But I got that part down, and I have to do the rest of it still. It's on hold. I'll work on it. It just takes a whole lot of sewing up what you're doing and then working on it. So there's a lot of play, I find, with how you want to stuff this. So say right here, this is a soft, this leg is stuffed. This leg is not yet. And I didn't stuff it to the seams super hard. It did a really soft, I don't know the technical words for this, but it did a really soft amount. So it stays very pliable and you can move it around a lot. So if you just do a little bit of fill, this little one is going to be missing a whole body. This is, I messed up. But this is a learning experience. This is okay. It's all right, because this isn't really a failure. This just isn't the results that you wanted. And so you will learn from those results that you want to do something different. But I have an idea anyway to make this work. So this is really soft, as you can see here. It's not too stiff. You can kind of bend and move because it's not overstuffed. But, say you do want it to be stuffed. So I'm going to take that same amount and I'm just going to really stuff it in there. I'm going to push it all the way down, my fingers down into here. And it depends on how slim your limbs are that you're stuffing in the toy. Sometimes you may need a tool. A chopstick works really good. The eraser on a pencil, at the eraser end of a pencil can work really good. Now see, if I overstuff this, it gives you a whole different look and you don't really get a lot of play. So I don't want that. I think that's a little too much. So I know I just stuffed it down there, but I just wanted to show. I'm going to take some of it back out of the legs now. And unstuff. It's not so hard. And make it more polyfill. Then out for that. And it's always easier to remove and start out more and less and all of that. So I think I'm going to have to stuff these arms. So obviously stuff the arms separately. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew them shut and hide the seam. I got to figure out how to do this. I didn't really think it through. I wasn't spontaneous at all. And just decided to be like, I want to make a plushie, so let's just play with it. I would never do something like that. I would never be like, hey, I want to do something completely different now, and let's just do it. But I did. That's sarcasm. I'm being silly. Of course I did it. So, yeah, of course I did. Okay, let's see. What do I got here? So weird. Oh no. Oh no. We're dropping frames. Okay. It's dropping. Hopefully it doesn't disconnect. Maybe it's refreshed and it's back. This is fine. This is fine. Oh my goodness, I see. This is fine. This is fine. This is okay. I'm looking at it. Okay, I guess you're gonna work, maybe. Okay. Let's see. You're not seeing any problems on your end. That's good. You know what? I did not turn. I know I was gonna turn the delay off, but I was gonna try. It told me that there was a thing. But now it's telling me that my connection is excellent. So, all right. I'm glad that you're not noticing any problems. I saw it start to on the monitor thingy. It started to show me that it was dropping frames. So, okay. I'm glad that it's not. Just trying to see what's going on here. But that's fine. This is fine. This is fine. All right. I'll do that then. This is fine. It is fine. I'm glad that you're not noticing anything. Thank you for coming, by the way. I'm very happy to have you. And I talked so many things about you after you left, and you can go all of the things about you when you left, about how you are an incredible human being and you do really tough work and you are an asset to the entire world around you because you're a fantastic person and you are incredible and amazing. So I'll repeat it again in case you didn't catch stream after you had to leave. I know you had to leave. I know you had to dip. And you tried to come back, but I had already stopped by then. I had to do the things. So, okay. This, I can tell you right now, I'm not happy with the proportions of some of this, but we'll see. I'm thinking I'm just not even going to bother with the face, like embroidering a face, just because I think it's such a work to embroider the face, and there, blush. There's different options when you're making a plushie. You, like I said before, you can leave it without a face, because then you leave the kid. If it's a kid's toy that you're making, it leaves that up for interpretation as to the emotions. So a lot of kids use toys for play, and one of the things that they can do with it is work through conflicts and stuff. And as they're working through conflict, they can pretend, so it allows them to have a broad range of emotions that they can convey. Yeah, this is totally, you see this? This is big head, little body. It's kind of cute. I think if I sew these pieces shut, and then depending on where I sew it, maybe it'll look okay. But it feels like a whole part of their body is missing. I don't know. Now, you would also have the option that if you do want to do a face on the plushie, you can wait until it is done and complete. Like, you can wait until you are completely done and then embroider after, or you can do the embroidery before. I prefer always to do after, because if you do it after, you have more control over it. Because if you do it before and say you sew it a little wonky and it's not quite the right lineup, and so say you have this piece done and then like the face is off center because you weren't quite straight in your lines, your face is off center, and then it just looks worse as if you didn't even have one. And then you could be kind of like stuck as far as like, oh, well, that's not what I wanted. And because I believe that there's so much play that you can just fishing around with this polyfill and doing the ears a little better. And so since you have a lot more control over it creatively to do after, I think you can always decide like, oh, well, this looked like this kind of mood. And then maybe when it's done, it looks like a completely different mood on that plushie. And then you don't like that mood anymore, and you want to just completely change it up and make it completely different. And so you have that option if you do that after. You don't have that option if you do it before, unless you go and reach out and take out stitching, embroidery. And a lot of times you're not going to really want to take out embroidery if you don't have to, because depending on the gauge of the needle that you're using, if it's bigger needles, it could leave bigger holes. And if it's woven fabric, you can have issues. Knit fabric has a different kind of weave to it. So the holes won't necessarily make it unravel per se. But in woven fabric, it could. Now this ear is completely flat, even though I've been pushing the polyfill down. And so you know why that is. This is a learning thing. There's too much in there. So a big clump of it won't fill in the little gap. So I got to go backtrack, take it out, and fill it up a little bit by a little bit until I get it where I want it. But if you want to leave it like that, you could just leave it flat and not filled. But see, that's kind of weird now because it's overstuffed. But I want to take a little out. I think it did too much. This is where you really have a lot of creative control. You can make it as much as you want or not. So you can take some out and you can add some. And so then you can shape it how you want. And that's really the best part, is to be able to, that's why you're doing it yourself, right? Is so that you can create your own little thingy here, your own little creation, your own little creature whatever. I don't like this color, but this is what we got. And it's very ambiguous because it's a browny, rusty, orangey. So it could be a fox, it could be a cat, it could be a bear, it could be a red panda, it could be an owl bear. It could be all kinds of things. So we got this. And I'm telling you what, we're missing something here. We're really missing a lot. Missing a lot. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. So if I sew those closed and say I front load it, yeah, we're totally missing a neck, guys. I think we're totally missing a neck. It's kind of cute, actually. It's kind of cute. I kind of like it. So this is my needle case that I made. I quilted together. This is all recycled wool. Obviously, I kind of like rainbows. I don't know if anybody noticed. Kind of like them. Kind of a big deal. So I made my own rainbow wool needle thingy. And so I added, this is so dangerous, I added all of these, I don't know if you can see, all of the needles. I added all of my, I added different pages to my needle book. So I have all of my various doll making needles in here. Yikes. I don't even want to think about these tiny little needles in here. And then for other little accessories, I added, well, there go my scissors. I added a scissor pocket and accessory stuff. I don't really use any other accessories, but anyway. I have a needle threader in case I need to, thread a needle on tiny needles. So now I need to find out what needle. I did not actually get thread. That is very unfortunate. I got everything but the thread. So let's see if I can let me go find some thread. Hold on, let me go get thread. And then we can sew this little baby up, right? Okay, time to sew it up. And it is a poly thread because it's going to be stronger. So I just wanted to, I don't really need the strength in these seams so much, but probably I will if I'm sewing on limbs. If you're sewing on limbs on a toy and you have like a younger child with the toy, you know how they can like tug and they play. And so you want it to be stronger. So probably that's good. So am I frozen again? Oh, don't tell me that, Scotty. Don't tell me that I'm frozen. I don't want to be frozen. I'm not in the mood. I want to be not frozen. Is it still frozen? I know there's a delay, so I'll wait. That's unfortunate. I need to turn the delay off, but I forgot to turn the delay off. And welcome anyone new to chat. I stepped away for a second and I check. And back. Excellent. Okay. Oh, I picked my needle I picked was too big. You know what I really need? It's like strong thimble skin. I really need like a good thimble. I got a leather thimble once for my hand sewing, but unfortunately, I gotta look at these needles. Unfortunately, it's too big. It's kind of too big. So it's more of a hassle and doesn't allow me to have full range of motion. And you kind of need the range of motion when you're sewing. So that was unfortunate. so I can't really use it. I can't really feel what I'm doing if I have it on. And I can't really feel what I'm doing if I have a metal thimble on either. So then I end up, maybe I should try like tape. Like a thick, well, I have allergies to the adhesive. But maybe I should try like a thick adhesive tape. Like paper tape, like a thicker paper tape. And maybe that would help with pushing the needles in. Because I end up like stabbing myself way, way, way too much. Okay. So I'm going to tie my knots here. I know. This is so weird. I'm a gamer, but I'm talking about making plushies because I can't game on the laptop. And I can't game and stream on the gaming computer because that's where the kids are. And like, you don't... they're loud, but also you will probably even hear them over stream too. They're loud, but also they are they're kids. It's okay. It's fine. It's normal. But I want them to actually be able to have like their privacy. Sports tape. Yes. But it just depends. Sports tape is a good idea. That's what I was thinking. But you know what the problem is those adhesives. The adhesive on that makes it really difficult I'm allergic to the adhesives. So when I had a biopsy done, they sewed me up with tape, and I actually had to remove the tape because it was harder for me to, I had more of a rash from the tape than I had from the biopsy. It was weird. It was really weird. Oh, who is that just joined chat? Are you joining chat? You can say hi. I know there's a delay, so I'll wait for a delay. So I like to, I'm going to sew this up. I'm going to sew up the first arm. And then it got stuck on a key on the keyboard. Isn't that fantastic? I love it. This is something different that I didn't think I would have to worry about. You know what I want to do? Actually, I'm feeling super lazy. Actually, I'm feeling really lazy about this because I'm not really sure how I like this. So you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, the adhesives, I'm allergic to the adhesives in bandages. Like literally any of them. Normal Band-Aids, anything with latex in it, anything like that. I break out with a really bad rash. So it was really difficult when I had the biopsy done. So I'm being lazy, and I'm not really sure how much I like this stuffy. So what I'm going to do is instead of closing this seam, I'm going to show you how I started to close it, but I've changed my mind. So instead of closing it, I'm going to close it, but instead of just closing it solo and then sewing it on, I'm going to take it right in here to this seam, and I'm going to sew it onto the body as I sew the seam closed. So then I have one less step. Because I don't think I'm going to give it, it's not going to be for a child, and they're not going to worry about playing with it. I'm going to just, is that a new follow?
Geekgasm 101001
no,
just fine.
I thought you already followed. Thank you so much. I miss you. We haven't seen each other in so long. I appreciate you. Thank you. You don't have to be shy in chat, but it's okay if you are shy. You don't have to. No obligations, no pressure. I appreciate the follow. I appreciate it. And you can come out, hang out anytime. Okay, so I'm going to look at where I'm here. And I'm going to look at the seam. I don't know if I like it. I guess it really depends on where. Do I want to? No, I don't want that. I don't want the arm pointing up. I kind of, you know what? I like it like, let's untwist this because I got this thread twisted now. Let's untwist this like this. We're going to do this. We're going to sew it so the arm is like that, hugging, like a center hug. That's what we're going to do. All right. See, this is, okay. I am not a professional, and that's okay. And you don't have to be a professional. And it could totally be something that you could totally get into. With a basic sewing kit, you don't have to do this at all by any means. But if this is something that you wanted to do, this is something that you could do relatively cheap and easy with very minimal investment in a hobby. So a basic repair sewing kit from Target, Walmart, anywhere. Just the basic tiny little, the little itty bitty one. Comes with a needle, comes with a thread. Usually they even come with scissors. So needle, thread, you're good. A very, bag of polyfill. Also, most Target or Walmart will have a little craft section. There we go. Section. You can grab some polyfill. Then you can find, even after like the dollar rack, clearance rack, they have remnant bins in craft stores or thrift store or whatever. You can do your own thing. So I'm not a professional, but I want to show you that like anybody can do this. So if you have the desire to do this, you can mess up like so many times along the way. And I promise you, you can come up with a result that you will like. And if you don't like it, you can just try again. It is really so easy. The first soft toys I ever made, this is so embarrassing. So I have two adult kids, and one year Angry Birds was like super, super popular, and everybody at their school was like so into Angry Birds, the app. And we didn't even have smartphones at the time. My partner and myself did not have smartphones at the time. So like we didn't have like apps on our phone, but like I knew what the Angry Birds were, and they wanted these Angry Bird plushies, and they were so expensive because they're branded. And I was like, they need to have a special Christmas, and I want them to have a special Christmas. So I decided that I was going to sew them Angry Bird plushies, because that was the first time. That was the first toys I ever made, was my Angry Bird plushies. Not mine. Their Angry Bird plushies, so that they could have them. And so I did like a pig, and I did the blackbird bomb thing. I don't even remember what they are. It's been so long. And then I did a green one. I can't even remember. I think we still have them somewhere. I had these fleece remnants because I used to sew the diapers when they were babies. I used to sew their diapers because, again, it was to save money. You don't have a lot of money for stuff, and kid stuff is really expensive. So I had a lot of fleece left over, because fleece is a polyester, and it is a water-resistant fabric. It repels water, so it can be really good if you want like a light diaper kind of pants, and if you have wool allergies where you can't wear wool. Fleece is like a good kind of substitute for diaper pants. I know that's not what I'm doing, but anyway, I had a lot of leftover fleece from diaper sewing, and so I decided that I would use it and repurpose it for, it was not the fleece that was in the diapers, and I didn't like take the diapers and recycle it to make the toys. It was fleece straight off of the bolt that I had left over from diapers that I had already done sewn up before. That is so much grammar right there. I'm sorry. I'm tripping over my words because I'm trying not to poke myself with a needle. We'll see how I did with I'm trying to do this arm. We'll see how I did. So what I'm thinking is, so the whole point is, this is completely becoming something new. Now, I was going to do the arms slightly different, but I've decided now, as I put it on here, I'm going to go for this kind of shape here. And it's sticking out right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little stitch there, possibly to hold it down, but I'm going to wait, and then I'm going to do the other arm. And then probably I will do a little heart. It's kind of like when I made this little thingy up, it sits at my desk because it's a reminder. I was working on a painting one day, and I like to work with lots of different things and add things to stuff and give it a lot of dimension, because sometimes paintings are kind of flat, and I like to add a lot of texture. So I like to add fiber, and I like to add three-dimensional aspects. And another thing sitting right here is like a heart. I sculpted this heart. I sculpted a heart for one piece, and then I ended up not using it and like lost it. I put it away for safekeeping, and then I forgot that I had it, so I had to end up sculpting another heart. But then I was like, oh, I needed that anyway. So that is there for a painting that I have planned, but I hadn't started. And the other heart that I sculpted is already on another painting. So I think I'm pretty good here. This is a little messy, but I think I'm good here, and I'll just reinforce this later. So I'm gonna tie this off and then start on the other one and do that. I'm going to, so to hide it, to hide the, it's not really hidden as much as I'd like to, but that's okay. I can clean it up later if I want to a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it inside. And I know it's really difficult. I can't really show the hand sewing part, but the needle's inside the body now. And then I'm going to put the knot inside the body so that the knot is hidden inside. And I like to tie off my knots multiple times and try to adhere it, like hide the stitch. I could do a double, triple stitch, double, triple, quad knot, whatever I feel is going to be very safe and secure. And I will like to tug at it to make sure it's there and really, really adhered. So bad. So yeah, I tried. I was like, you know what I'm going to do today? I know I said I wanted to finish this plushie, but instead, what if I tried to build in Fallout? Because the laptop can run Fallout, right? Right? So I brought it up, and I was fixing the window up, and then all of a sudden, the laptop decided to just go, nope, and black screen restarted on me. So that was super fun. So we're not streaming Fallout. Ever, probably. On there, anyway. I suppose I could probably stream with no cam and no mic. Downstairs on my gaming rig. And do it that way. That'd be good. That would work, right? That would totally work. Yeah, I think that would work. But I don't know how interesting that actually really is. You know what I mean? I don't know how interesting it would be to like have silent streaming. Silent streaming? Fallout 1 or 2? No, sir. Sir. No. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. You know me better than that. I mean, you should... Sir, you should know better by now that I like the graphical integrity. I'm so spoiled. I'm so sorry. I'm so visual. And I don't think I'm going to ever play Fallout 1 or 2. I don't think I can. I just can't. I love the franchise. You know how I feel about Fallout. It's literally one of my favorite franchises ever, but that's just not going to happen. Let's be realistic. One of my favorite franchises also is Dragon Age. And if I tried to play Dragon Age Origins again now, after just playing Veilguard, I mean, it's just not going to happen. It's literally just, I'm not going to enjoy it. And I have to, like, be having fun and enjoy it 100%. So I don't think that's going to happen. Like, I played it, and it still is, like, a fantastic game. Like, it's still one of the best games ever made. Honestly, I'll argue that till the end of time. Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2 is really good too. And Inquisition is still my favorite, the third one. And I just finished Veilguard, which was the fourth one, and I really. You tried which one? Dragon Age Origins? It was not how you remembered. And there's a whole lot of flack about Veilguard. Some of it is warranted, I guess. But then a part of me is so completely biased about Dragon Age that none of the flack is warranted. And that's probably not valid because some of it is probably warranted. It is not... So Dragon Age Veilguard is not Origins. It's not Inquisition. But it puts you back into that world. And this is no spoilers. It puts you back into the world. It leaves off. It picks up where you left off at the end of Inquisition. Sort of. Sort of. Not completely. Uh-oh, I just messed up. It picks up where it left off, sort of. But it doesn't fully. Oh, 1 and 2 are so fussy and clumsy. I'm not a fan. Well, it's not just the graphics for me. It's actually, I'm just not really a fan of the, I'm not really a fan of the game style. Honestly. So, I really like being able to get immersed in a game. I really want to just be able to turn something off and just enjoy. Just wander around exploring and get lost in the world. Yeah. So I highly recommend, if you're going to do an Dragon Age Origins playthrough, just totally do it. But just know that when you do Origins, and then you go, and you do 2, it's going to be mediocre in comparison to Origins, because they were churning out a sequel. And they made some changes. And so they introduced a different sort of way of combat. They introduced different mechanics. Like, I can't remember the word I'm looking for. Like different companion interactions that you had in 2. And they didn't bring them back for 3, for Inquisition. And they're obviously not there for Veilguard as well, the 4th one, which is fine. I actually personally really like them. You could be really snarky and sarcastic, and you could have conflicting relationships with your companions in that game, and so. I find it really hard in talking with the partner as of late, because he also finished the Veilguard playthrough as well. We concurrently played it, but they're single player, so you can't play them together. So we played them together, and we have very different outcomes, obviously, because we play differently. And he really likes the tactical combat aspects of that Origins gives you. And Origins is very, very much Origins, and I'm gonna say this because I can say this in foil to Baldur's Gate 3, because I was gifted Baldur's Gate 3 for Christmas. Thank you again, Hesser. And so I wouldn't buy it for myself, because I had a lot of conflicting ideas on whether I would actually even like it, because it is very much like playing D&D, and you're stopping for rolls, for checks, for a lot of that, and if you like that sort of thing, there's a whole lot of min-maxing that you can do for that. There's a whole lot of gaming that you can do. But if you want to get lost in an experience and immersed in exploring the world around you, it's not the game for you. And so that's the kind of game I like. I want to be immersed and lost in the world around me. That's what I want. And so far, Baldur's Gate is great. It is, I mean, I get to be a druid, and I can wild shape and everything. And I love that. But man, it almost makes me want to just reinstall Skyrim and just wander around and get lost in the world. Because I literally never finished the main story on Skyrim. So many hours in. Okay, here we go. Now the seam is so gross and messy on this left arm. I hate it. I'm going to have to do something. But now we've got these, because of the shaping, we're looking like Among Us, guys. I don't know if I like it, but it's okay. It is what it is. Yeah, the characters, I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm a whole lot of hours in, but not a whole lot of hours into the story. So I can't give you anything except for first impressions. And I kind of want to kill a lot of them. And you know me, and I'm not the murdery type. And I just got off of playing Veilguard, where it's very contentious, some of the content. But I tend to not necessarily like the same people that other people like in games. So I don't know how that's going to play out for me in Baldur's Gate. Because from some of the comments I've heard, I've tried to avoid spoilers, and kind of I have, because I don't really know what's going on. I don't know what this name means or what that name means. And so I kind of, because I am ignorant to all of it, I kind of have avoided spoilers, and which is fine. But I've heard mention of a couple of characters that people say they love, and I can't stand them so far. Like, one of them that you rescue very, very early on in the game, and this is no spoilers, one of them that you rescue early on is I just almost didn't rescue this person because they were just repeatedly begging me to not forget them there and to grab them. And I was just like, if I have to listen to you talk anymore, I just don't want to. Basically, I just, like, actually literally just do not want to. And maybe I should, like, take a break and not play for a little while. Maybe I'm just not in the mood to people. And maybe I just need to, but then again, I feel like I just want to be able to enjoy the game and have fun. And if you're obnoxious to me and you're annoying me, then maybe you just, I don't know, maybe you just die and we don't play with you. I guess that's okay, but then I'm kind of worried because there's several people. So far, there's several people that I might just kill. And there's 3, and I've only picked up 4 companions, and I don't think I can do it alone. So either I start over again, or I don't know. I'm kind of just feeling like I don't want to get too far into it. As far as I don't want to worry too much about doing everything perfect and correct. And I just want to get lost and have fun. But then also, like, I don't like her. Like, I like her better than Shadowheart. But I don't love her. But we'll see. Because, so, like, playing in Dragon Age, in Veilguard, they introduced, she develops, that's what I read. I read that they do develop. And I just keep that in mind. Because, like I was just going to explain, in Dragon Age, they gave this, not primer, but like a trailer where you see these people from, you see the characters in the trailer, and it's like, oh, we've got this, mage from Minrathous, which is a zone in Dragon Age world, in the Dragon Age world. And then we've got this, Veil Jumper, and they're talking about these different people. And then we have Tosh, who is Konari. And then we have Davrin, who is an elf with a griffin. I'm going to tell you from the trailer, I swooned all over the place, and I just swooned the entire game with Davrin and the griffin, and I miss Davrin and the griffin way more than I probably should miss a video game character. I'm so sad that the playthrough is over for that, because I absolutely adored the writing of that character. So, without going on that, it's time to attach. We've got 2 arms, and it's time to attach a head to a body. And again, I'm looking like maybe the proportions are not going to be so right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, oopsies, my knot was not good enough and I just pulled the thread right out. See, it's good to, see, it's really good to pull on that thread really hard sometimes and make sure everything is put together. So it's in there. I found a better place, hopefully. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I'm not going to sew it like so for this one. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to try and show this. Let me see if I can show this. So here I just flat sewed this down, and it's really messy, and it's not the best. There isn't really anything I can do about that unless I try to like dress it up in a different way at some point. I don't know that I will, because I think this is sort of like a test for, you know, a test, basically, to see what I could do, just basically just sketching out shapes yesterday and decided to just go with it. So for this one, I'm not going to flat sew it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these, we've got two gaping holes, and I'm going to just sew it on top, I think, is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to see how it looks. And if I don't like it, I can just cut the thread, and I can take it apart, and I can start over and do something else that I like. So I'm going to attach these two parts. So basically what I'm going to do is, I know this might be confusing, but I'm going to make a seam. If you don't know anything about sewing, this might be confusing, but I'm just going to make a seam from here to here, and I'm just going to hide the thread under. And again, if I can do this, anybody can. I taught myself how to do this. Like I said, this is something that I just wanted to do and I wanted to learn. And generally, if there's something that I want to do and I want to learn, I just do it. And if I mess up, it's absolutely not a failure. It is a learning experience. And then we will learn. But I take the needle and I'm going to put it on the, I can't really, it's not really possible for me to show, but I'm going to take it on, I'm going to stick my needle on the inside and then pull this out here. Anyway, I'm going to just keep sewing and just keep talking about Dragon Age. So you were talking about, you bought Origins. I highly recommend playing Origins. And people will ask me, well, what is your favorite Dragon Age? And this is a really hard question because Dragon Age Origins is the closest that you could get to like actually playing a pen and paper sort of RPG. I guess Baldur's Gate counts as well. The previous ones that I never really played. I played Baldur's Gate on console once upon a time, a very long time ago, and not for very long. But Dragon Age was the first opportunity I had to play something that was like a pen and paper D&D game, but on the computer. And so it was like, that stitching is bad. I did that wrong. Okay, I'm gonna take my needle off the thread, and I'm gonna undo this. I'm just gonna take that out because that was very misplaced spot. So I remember, like, there's a couple of gaming moments. I've been gaming for a really long time. Obviously, there wasn't really PC gaming when I first started. I didn't even have a PC. There was consoles were really big, so console gaming. But I remember, like, the first moment I had in PC gaming that just blew my mind was Morrowind. Turning Morrowind on and seeing something three-dimensional absolutely floored me. It blew my mind. And that was just one of those moments where I was just like, holy hell, this is incredible. Because up to that point, like, I had played D&D my entire life, basically, since I was about 5, because my parents used to play D&D, and their friend played a mage, and I was his familiar. So I could sit at the table with the adults, and I could pretend to be a cat, which is fantastic, because, you know, I'm a cat, anyway. I've always been a druid, so we're just gonna we're not gonna go too deep on it, we're not gonna think about that too much. Don't worry about it, it's fine. So Morrowind just blew my mind. I could walk around in a generated environment. There was nothing like that prior to that. Because before then, there was like nothing like that. It was like the old RPGs and dungeon crawlers. It was like your entries in the keyboard were like left, right, straight, backwards, roll. And you had to use your imagination for all of it. And let me tell you, I had to use my imagination, but it's fine. I was used to reading books too, so it was okay. But holy smokes. Okay, this looks terrible. But it really just blew my mind in a way nothing had blown my mind before. And so Dragon Age was very much like a pen and paper, but not open world exploratory like Skyrim or anything like that. So I wasn't sure I was going to really like it. But because BioWare does such a fantastic job at world building, and David Gator did such a really good job at the world that he wrote in multiple novels as well, that I read a bunch of those as well. I was so hardcore into this game universe. I was just a sucker I was a sucker from the very beginning. Second one, just immediately, I just fell in love. I got so immersed. It didn't allow you to explore, like free reign explore like some games do, but that was fine. I did not care. And again, 2 is really good as well. As far as, because it's in Dragon Age, it's not as good as any of the other Dragon Age games for me. I know there's a lot of people that agree with that as well, but it's fine. I think everybody should play it with an open mind. I absolutely highly recommend Origins playthrough, and then the second one, and I highly recommend all the DLC. But for various reasons, the third one is still my favorite. And when I started playing, oh, this is wonky, but it's cute. It's got character and it's quirky. When I started playing Veilguard, the 4th installation, I waited 10 years. Everybody waited 10 years after Inquisition for Veilguard. So waited 10 years on a cliffhanger, basically. And that was a long wait of not thinking that the game would come out. And I went from being like, wow, this is so good and I love it. This is my favorite Dragon Age ever. To then, by the end of it, saying, I mean, that was really good. I think, for me, Inquisition is still my favorite. But Veilguard was absolutely, definitely worth playing. So, that's where I'm on that. So I highly recommend playing Origins, especially if you liked Baldur's Gate. I think you will very much like Origins, actually. It's less stopping, rolling, taking care of stuff, like Baldur's Gate, and more exploring. So it's a very nice sweet spot for people that like that kind of tactical play. Because with Origins, there is a lot of tactical play. You pause, you can do all kinds of tactical party maneuvers. You can do the same thing in 2, and you can still do the same thing in 3. It's not quite as tactical in Veilguard for what it's worth. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the tone changed in the game as well, too. Like, it's still dark, but like a very big thing about the universe in Dragon Age is that it's really racist against elves and super gross towards mages. And in Veilguard, that's a little different. But it also takes place in places where those cultures aren't that big of a... you're not... So in the first ones, it was in southern region. And so there wasn't a lot of... mage freedom in the southern regions, but in the northern regions there's like mage supremacy and stuff like that, so it kind of makes sense culturally that if you're in that northern region, you're not quite going to see the same sort of, hatred of mages and fear of mages, and every culture is different, so that changes a little bit. The kind of weird thing is that you don't really have any differences when you're playing on how they treat you if you're an elf, and in the past games you absolutely were treated differently if you were an elf. And I always play elves. So I noticed the difference there. So, okay. Well, we're done with this. And I'm not really sure I love this. But it's a learning experience. So I guess we can think about ways to kind of salvage this. And that's putting it nicely, isn't it? That's okay though, because all it is time. And if it's something that you want to do, you're going to learn, and you're going to make mistakes as you learn. And you're going to, well, hopefully you learn. You'll learn something from it, and then next time it might not be like that. Okay, so I'm going to put this needle down. You know what I think I'm going to do? My creaky chair. Still creaky. I'm thinking about how I can salvage this. I could do the little, oh, let's see. Okay, well, I don't know how I'm going to salvage it. I'll have to think about it. Is it even worth salvaging? Let's see. Yeah, I don't really know. I think it's just going to be a disaster. Yeah, it might just be a disaster. It might be one of those learning experiences that we are okay just leaving on the back burner and not really thinking about right now, which is also perfectly acceptable as part of the process. I know that you do not absolutely 100% have to make your own pattern. So I know that there are tons of different patterns on Pinterest. They have free, even if you just Google, you can Google free sewing pattern, plushy patterns, and they have very simple ones. So, yeah. That's going to be what that is, and that's going to be that's going to be a learning experience that we don't necessarily need to revisit, isn't it? But I wanted to finish it, and I said, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, I had a plan. And it's kind of unfortunate that I can't do any of the gaming on here. It doesn't work, but that's okay. This was not, I didn't buy the laptop for gaming. I bought the laptop to do that thing, the work thing. So I'm planning on the next things in plan. What are the next plans? I'm going to set up the photography studio up here so that I can get some, it's actually on that bottom shelf down there, that big bag down there. That's my little setup for the photography thing. I think I'm gonna set that up next, and then start getting some photos, get some prints made of some of the paintings, so that I can set up an integrated shop. And I'm trying to think if I want to do. I made accounts for Ko-fi and Patreon before, but I kind of never really did anything with them. I made the accounts, but I didn't really. At the time, Patreon was new, and that was a long time ago. At the time, it was new, and I didn't really know, is this legit? I guess it's legit now. But there's been these kind of different points in time where it's I really want to get this out there. I really need to, take myself seriously as an artist, as a creator, and do stuff. But then there was always something happening where my priorities needed to be elsewhere. But now that's not quite the same. I have the opportunity and the time now versus then where I can do some of that stuff. So now I got to revisit a lot of that stuff. So I have to revisit the whole, do I want to have a Patreon, or do I want to, is it Ko-fi? Is it coffee? I don't know. I'm pretty ignorant to all of that, and I need to learn and not be so ignorant and try to get in on getting something, do something. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be one of those iStream games, because I didn't really have the opportunity to do that. And that's perfectly fine. Plus, I really like to just unwind when I'm gaming. And I don't want to have to worry about... I can't really keep up on chat in game. So I think that's just not going to be a thing that I can do. So... it is what it is. That's okay. But I think that's all I had today. I don't know if I had anything else I was going to do. I did get some prints that I need to find a place to, hang. A frame and hang. I've got a very, actually, I can show them to you. They are so adorable. I ordered shirts from a place called Shirt Punch, and they have a new option lately that I found where you can order like prints, posters, and stuff, not just the shirts. So I got some new ones, and I got a Stitch with the Rainbow Love because I really like Stitch. And then I got a Kirby cake because also adorable. And then I actually have this shirt, but it's starting to fade, and I want to make it as a print. Hey, there she is. She's chatting. Hello. And then Rainbow Galaxy TARDIS because I love TARDISes. And I love Doctor Who. I'm wearing the shirt. This is an Alice in Wonderland. It's a TARDIS in Wonderland. And then this is another one of my favorite shirts that's fading. So I decided to buy a little print of it. And it's from Bram Stoker's Dracula movie from a long, long time ago. One of my favorite movies and one of my favorite shirts. And then I got two others that are curled up, and I'm trying to flatten them so I gotta get frames for these. I got this one that says, I myself am strange and unusual, and you might not be able to see it very well because it's kind of dark. If I can. And that's obviously from Beetlejuice. And then this is my favorite. Unapologetically, this is my favorite Strawberry Shortcake and Rainbow Bright that says #besties in rainbow. And that is just my inner child that never grew up enjoying that very much because I had a little vintage Strawberry Shortcake somewhere, and someone has decided that it is theirs instead. But I do have a Rainbow Bright Funko Pop right next to my desk because, hello, who doesn't love Rainbow Bright? I'm sure there's lots of people that don't love Rainbow Bright, and that's okay too if you don't love Rainbow Bright. I love Rainbow Bright. Although watching Rainbow Bright as an adult is not the same experience that I remember as a kid trying to watch Rainbow Bright. So let's be real. Yeah, it's not quite the same. It's not quite the same experience. So, yeah. But yeah. So how is everybody else holiday going? Through the goings. Because we've passed through the Christmassy stuff for those that celebrate Christmas, and now we're headed into the New Year-y stuff for those that celebrate the New Year, as if we have a choice. Because it just keeps on going, whether we want it to or not, right? I had to change my background, so now I cleaned my studio yesterday. I'm about to clean it again. I just assembled a bunch of paper lanterns that I've had them sitting there in a package for like 2 years, and I really need to get them hung. And so I decided I'd assemble them, and I pulled out some thread, and I'm gonna start, coming up with how I want them strung up, but I need more hooks. So they're set up. So I continue to keep myself motivated, because they were just gonna sit there in a package for another 2 years probably. And then my blue star there that I need to hang up, that is, geez, that thing is like 4, 5, 6 years old. I don't even remember how old it is. I have a habit of trying to do something for myself and then just setting it aside while I prioritize taking care of other stuff. So I need to just like reorient that occasionally and remember that I need to do these things for myself, because if I don't do them for myself, sometimes people are not going to do them for me. So I need to make sure that I'm taking care of myself as well. So I want this is my workspace, and so I want it to be a very happy place that I can just enjoy. So, which everybody should, I think, if it's, whatever kind of work you do. You should make it a place that you're happy to work in, I think. Because you deserve it. I should tell myself that, right? You deserve it. You're awesome. You're amazing. Yes, Sailor Moon isn't the same experience when I first watched it, like watched as a preteen. It's true. It's true. There's so many different things that you pick up on this, and you've experienced so much of life, and so much has changed that you see it through a different view, you know? Like, all-time favorite, no question, all-time favorite movie for me, right along with Dark Crystal. I love Dark Crystal. The Dark Crystal is still probably like all-time favorite. Best. I don't think anything could top it. But if anything could top it, it would be The Last Unicorn, and that still stands. Like, I remember being more than a little obsessed with it as a kid, and just thinking about, oh well, it's just a movie about a unicorn. And then even watching it as an adult, it was so heartbreaking in a way that I never could have comprehended that heartbreak as a child. And I just remember being so impressed with it as an adult as well. And I actually have over my desk, I can't really swap them. I have actually quite a few prints, Last Unicorn prints. I got them done in, I didn't get them done. I found the seller who had created custom art, and they are the Last Unicorn, and every background is sort of it's inspired by like a Van Gogh. It's very stylistically like Van Gogh, kind of like Starry Night. Obviously not the same colors or anything, and it's not done by Van Gogh, obviously, but I also really love Van Gogh, so I like those. But I also have like a metal tin of The Last Unicorn with the Art Nouveau sort of esque art style. Yeah, maybe I'll post some pictures on my my public Instagram of them. They're my favorite. Last Unicorn probably is like one of those things that held up, that I enjoyed very much as a kid, and I would still very much enjoy now. Although it's kind of difficult to view it as enjoying it per se when you realize how absolutely tragic it is. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I like tragedy. I've always liked tragedy. Perhaps because tragedy allows you to have the contrast between comedy, and then finding comedy amidst the tragedy, and how those sort of things can be intertwined in our adult worlds. But as a kid, like The Last Unicorn was just like, oh, it's a unicorn and it's so pretty. And it is. It's still absolutely beautiful. But it's very tragic, The Last Unicorn. But it's still my all-time favorite. I probably have more Last Unicorn t-shirts than anything else. I can't believe I only have those 3 prints. Actually, 3 prints, and then I just got a tin thingy. I could flip the webcam around, but I don't think you'll be able to see it very well. So maybe I'll just take some pictures, and I don't know. They're good. If you like unicorns, even if you don't want to see The Last Unicorn, I really loved the art. And I'm not necessarily always a fan. I'm kind of iffy on what kind of anime or animated stuff I like. So, speaking of that, you've never seen The Last Unicorn? Oh, girl. Oh. Oh. It's so... I think you will love it. I can't, like, I own it. I wish I could, like, stream it. We could watch it together. Far away, watch it together. But I don't know how to stream it on DVD. I'll have to see if I have a copy of it or something. I would stream it and watch it with you. I love it so much. It's actually just... I really love the Dark Crystal. And I was really sad that when they did the second... They did a prequel to the Dark Crystal on Netflix. And then when they went to go do a second season, they decided not to. You've never seen The Last Unicorn either? Scotty! How could you? I had to change my glasses so I can read the chat from afar. I lean back. I can't read chat. I have to read glasses. How could you have not seen The Last Unicorn? It's actually... So, okay, so in the way that, like, you know, Strawberry Shortcake and My Little Pony and Rainbow Bright, they're very much kid stuff made for kids, right? The Last Unicorn can be watched by kids. It's not, I don't think it's really made for kids. But I mean, I grew up in the 80s. I was born in the 70s. And I grew up as a kid in the 80s. And so, wow. Did you actually just say you've never even heard of The Last Unicorn? Do I even know you? Maybe it didn't make it to Scotland. That's possible. That's very possible. Let me see now. The Last Unicorn. Let me see. What does Google say? I knew it came out in 1982. I know that. It was based on a novel written by Peter S. Beagle. You see the glare from my Google. Google's not in dark mode on this computer because I haven't signed into it. So this is bright mode and my eyes just went, thank you very much for that moment of... Oh my god, maybe we should do a watch together. Maybe we should watch The Last Unicorn together sometime on Discord. Do we want to have a watch party together and watch it sometime? Can we make it happen? What do you think? Who else wants to watch it? I will see if I can do that. They have it on Prime Video. Oh, I think I can stream it for free from Prime. Yeah, watch for free. I can do that. It is free on Amazon Prime, The Last Unicorn. Yeah. Let's do a watch together. Let's do a watch together, The Last Unicorn. Do we want to make a plan for that? Yes, let's do that. Not on stream, because I don't know about copyright stuff. But yeah, hell yeah. If you want to, I would love to watch it together. I know that my old Discord with the kids and stuff, and we all had that gaming Discord together, and I ran it, but when my Discord account got hacked last year, they deleted my channel. And I, like, tried to start... I did restart it, but, like, because I don't really use it, and you know how socially I am, I didn't really do much with it. It's there, and I should re-invite you. And then, I know Scotty's in there. But yeah. Oh, gosh. Let's do that. Let's make a plan. I'll start a poll. You're laughing at me. It wasn't personal, I swear. I'm so sorry. You know how I am with social stuff. I just go through these phases of... I feel like I'm like that. I don't want to say a square peg you're trying to put in a round piece. Round hole. Or a round hole you're trying to put in a square piece. Like, but I just feel like I just don't fit. And so I feel like I go through these phases of I'm super awkward. I'm like a cat too. Yeah, I'm super awkward. And I'm just like, I said too much and I have to run away and hide now. Does that make sense? Like I said too much and I didn't want to be a bother and let me go poof, I'm disappeared. I don't know. I just get weird. I know everybody has everything going on. They have their own lives and they have stuff going on and I don't want to like be a bother. You know what I mean? But then I tunnel vision because we homeschool and I have to pay attention to that because it's now high school and middle school and it's like very serious. Like transcripts matter. And so it's a lot more intensive than it was not in high school, you know? So it has to be. That needs my attention. So we can be awkward unicorns all together, and we'll do a little watch party. Well, I'll do it. I'll do it. Yeah, I'll have to figure out. I think I can sign in. I think I can probably sign into Prime on my computer, and then I'll just stream it on Discord one day, and we'll just watch it. I don't know if the streaming quality will really good, but we can try. We can try. We'll just have to figure out a time because I know Scotty is in New Zealand. Black cat mixed with orange. I am cutting out again. It's giving me this buffering. Saying, oh no, and now it's not. Excellent. I'm more like I don't know what kind of cat I would be. What kind of cat would you be, Scotty? If you were a cat. I don't know what kind of cat I would be. I know what kind of cat I've always wanted. I've always wanted a Sphinx. I want to cuddle it so much. I want to make it, like, dress it up in pretty fluffy sweaters and cuddle it and love it. And maybe one day I'll have one. I had one in Cyberpunk. You can get a pet cat in Cyberpunk. And it's a Sphinx. And, I'm still smooth. Oh, you mean you're not talking about a hairless cat. You're talking about the buffering and stuff. Yeah. I guess it's my internet buffering me or something like that. And coming out in Fallout, you're going to be able to get a Sphinx cat as well for your camp. Wonky cat with one eye and half a tail. Half a rail. Hello. Hello. Nice. Well, that escalated quickly. How do you do half a rail? How do you do half a rail, Scotty? How do you do it only halfway? Okay, I'm gonna have to go. I just got a call from my sister, and I see it buzzing through, and I'm going to need to take this real quick. So hang on. Hello, hello, hello. I'm back. Let me try and figure out how to fix these screens. I don't need a BRB anymore. Do that. Oh, look what I can do. I can do it. Okay. I'm back. You see? She had to go. And everybody else that stayed around, hello and thank you. Yes. Okay, I'm back. I didn't really have anything else planned, but we got into this discussion about cats. Maybe a cat, you would be, what did you say? Let me scroll and look. So you can hear me? It's working. I muted myself while I was on the phone properly, right? You couldn't hear me? Did I do the technology correctly? Did I mute myself properly? Hope so. There's probably still a delay. Yum, yeah. Yeah. Okay. You said you would be a wonky cat with one eye and half a rail. Oopsies. Tail. Okay, you couldn't hear the call. That's good. That's good. I was getting an update from the hospital, so I had to take that call. Okay. So, why have a tail and why only one eye? I actually had a cat when I was a kid who had half a tail. Actually, he had a stubby tail, like half a tail, and the end of it had a little kind of, not a whole full hook, but it had this kind of like little bump at the end. And in the side of his body, and this is true story, 100%, he was mostly white, and he had like this gray, hazelish, gray brown, hazel question mark on his side. No joke. That was my cat when I was in middle school. And he was actually like, I remember thinking like, this is my best friend in the whole world, because I always felt like I could relate to animals way better than people, because they're just so pure, and I love them, and they love you no matter what. I mean, cats, that's negotiable, I guess. They're very different than dogs, which is fine as well. But I always just remember like loving animals so much. And we always had dogs and cats when I was growing up, and I was allergic, and I have varying degrees of allergies to different kinds of varying fur and everything else. But that my cat in middle school, he was fantastic. He had this really cool, like I said, he had this really cool question mark in his fur, and it stuck out, notches in your ears too. Just because, and I'll say it, I'll read chat. Just because of the sheer amount of broken bones and injuries that you have had. I think if I were a cat, I'd have notches in my ears too. I would too, probably. I have a lot of broken bones as well, and injuries and scars and stuff like that. So maybe I would be that scruffy ass cat too. I don't think I'd care as long as I could be a blue cat, right? Or I'd be, a blue furry monster. Wild, like the Muppets animal. Is that possible? Could be fantasy characters now? Doesn't have to be cat, right? Could it just be a fantasy character? Maybe. Maybe not. That's okay. Yeah, so I think it's fine to have I think it is perfectly fine to be one of those cats with figured I would be blue. I don't know if you know this. Blue's my natural color. Did you know? I'm actually gonna go pink at the next time I re-dye. This webcam is new, and the color, the saturation is really bad on it, so you can't actually tell that my hair is blue. I guess I could probably flip on the other one. Can I do that? Nope, that's a be right back. There. You can kind of see it on this one, but not so much. Well, yeah. So, yeah, it's blue. You just can't really tell with this webcam. I felt like I needed to get a new webcam because I feel like you can actually have a conversation and you see each other as people. And, thank you. I miss having pink. I do like to do pink. So there's a reason. There's a lot of growth. There's a good, like you can see all of the white. So there's a lot of growth. I've got a good, maybe like 3 or 4 inches of growth since the last time I bleached it. So I'm going to bleach it all over again. Mostly for the darker natural color back here. I don't mind that there's the white there. It's been there for so long, and I got the rogue look. So I'm fine with that. I embrace that. If that's okay. That's not what I'm trying to really dye so much. It's the brown. It's my ashy, my dark ashy blonde that's more brown now. That's what I really am trying to bleach out, just so that it'll keep the color when I do it something else. So if I'm gonna bleach it out, it's the best time to do pink. And the last couple of times I tried to do the pastel pink, it just came out really bad, and it didn't take, and it just like rinsed out. So then it just looked gross and blonde. And I mean, I'm a natural blonde anyway, and I was a blonde I'm not really a blonde most of my life because it's been dyed most of my life. But I spent a significant amount of my time red, and I was born blonde, natural blue. But anyway, when I go to bleach it out, I wanted to do that pastel pink again because I really like it. But the last couple of times, the first time I did it, it came out really well. But the last couple of times since then, even using the same kind, it did not come out very well. So I've decided I'm going to do it like hot pink. And if it fades, it'll come out faded, like a pastel pink. So it'll be a win-win, I hope. Hopefully it won't be too hot pink. But the other benefit of doing that pink and doing the base of the pink to later do blue on top of it is because then I get that nice red toned base instead of a green toned blue. But most of the time when I get blue, I try to make sure that I'm getting a red based blue or a purple toned blue that has a red base in it, just because I don't like how it shoots off as a green. Not that green's bad. Green is fine, but on my hair, when it fades out to green, it tends to be muddier green, and I don't really like that on me. But I don't mind it if there is some, kind of green tones in there occasionally with the purple. I think it's really pretty. I tend to mix purple and blue half and half, so I keep it very red toned blue. And I know that doesn't make sense because blue is a primary color, but you can have either red toned blue or green toned blue when you're buying dye, and so I tend to go with the red tones. So usually it's really good because then I can do if I do a pink at the bottom of that as the base, then it does a nice layer. It does a nice base, pink base on that. And then when I add it up on top, it turns out really well on the blue after. Blue goes over the pink very well. So it makes it a nice rosy base. But I'm trying a different purple this time. I'm trying a super hardcore purple to mix with a very bright purple to mix with the blue this time when I go to do the indigo. I actually just call it blue because so many people argue with me about what color it is, and they don't. So I just say, well, it's blue, because I don't argue with people about what is indigo, what is blue, and that kind of thing. And it's so silly. It's like I don't really care. I just want it to feel like it's me. But Yeah. I'm looking forward to doing pink. The dye came today and the bleach kit is here, and I'm gonna wait because we have a little New Year's Eve thingy to do. I'm going to slow roast a ham. A pork roast smothered in molasses and soy sauce. Maple barbecue recipe I will share with you if you'd like. Just let me know. I made it up the other day when I was doing it. So, yeah. I'll share you the recipe. I'll send you a message about the recipe. And I'm going to try and redo the bread pudding. Because I tried to do bread pudding on Christmas Eve. And I finished my custard. And basically, I just do full whipping cream and eggs and brown sugar and some vanilla. And that's my custard. And then I just soak it over a loaf of bread. I'm still there. What happened? Did I bump off? Love you, Internet. I love you, Internet. You're amazing. You're incredible. So, yeah, that's cool. I thought I was still here. I guess not. No, I am. I am. Oh my god, did it bump me? It didn't show me anything. Oh no. That's fantastic. That's awesome. Wonderful. This is fun. This is perfectly fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. So yeah, I went to go do the bread pudding, and I mixed together the custard, and I went to go pour it over the bread. And I had just broken up a whole full loaf of bread in the pan, and I went to go pour the custard over it. And then I looked at it, and there was... No, it's okay. And then there was mold all over it. And so I was like, I can't put this in the oven. This is fantastic. So I'm going to redo bread pudding maybe for New Year's. You're cleaning, and you're in the middle of doing all this stuff, and then you have come to hang out with me. It's awesome. I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. I don't want to keep you from things you have to do. Being on different time zones and stuff is so difficult to try to coordinate. So I very much appreciate the fact that you came to hang out. I appreciate it a lot. I very much do. And you're not even here to hear me say that, which makes me feel kind of silly. But I also want to make sure you understand how much I appreciate that, too. So I don't want to... Yeah. It is. It's all this. It's all this. I appreciate it. I appreciate anybody that came and hung out. Even if they're lurking. It's great. I'm trying to hit affiliate. I don't know why. Because it feels kind of weird. Like, I don't know. It was just like a goal because that was like the next step. So I just thought about it. Like, well, what happens if? Let's try this. So I need to finish doing that. Get enough people to hang out and do the thing. And it's kind of hard because like things I want to share are not necessarily things that are normally shared on Twitch. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are. But I'm not gaming. I could Tiny Glade game, but it really doesn't, this laptop does not really like when I try to game, unfortunately. I could try a puzzle game or something on here. I have some of those. And see if it's not a very graphically intensive puzzle game. Maybe I can find one of those and I can game and hang out and do that. That might work. But I kind of feel like I need to, there's so much stuff that I need to do and get motivated about and not game. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to like take a step back from a lot of things that are taking up a lot of energy that I need to be doing differently. So yeah, with that, I believe that it is time to think about dinner and scrounging some of that up. So, probably I should do this thing. What is this thing? That thing? Yes, that thing. The ending the that thing. Oh, you know what? I'll have to figure out if I need to change that on that. But I appreciate everybody that came and hung out. And I didn't even know how to raid someone. I didn't even know that's the thing I could do. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But I don't know of anyone else that's streaming right now. So maybe it's probably for the better. I would figure probably wanting to do that with someone that is more pertinent. Doing the same kind of thing, streaming the same kind of thing might be the way to go. But I don't see anyone streaming the same kind of thing. So I appreciate everybody that came by. Thank you very much. It was, I had fun. Thank you. And I had a disaster plushie. I made a disastrous plushie. I don't even know if it can be considered a plushie, but I guess technically it's a plushie. But it was a disaster. Absolute disaster. But that's okay. Maybe the next time it won't be a disaster. So, thank you everyone that stopped by. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. All the follows and any of the chat, and no pressure to chat if you don't want to too. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thank you.